So smoky skies, poor, very unhealthy air quality has been impacting a lot of U.S. cities into the Northeast. So joining us to talk more about these concerns is Chris Thorncroft. He's the director at the University of Alabama's Atmospheric Sciences Research Center. Thank you so much for being with us here. Did I say a different city? Albany? What did I say?
Alabama.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
You've been on the radar in the South.
Very different. Yes, I was running the radar earlier. Thanks for joining us today. Let's talk about just how poor the air quality has been, because New York really has gotten a lot of attention, but Albany's had it worse at times.
Yeah, Albany's, we've been obviously in a direct line of the flow from Canada down towards Albany into New York. We've had some unprecedented values of pollution and particulate matter over the last few days. Even this morning, the AQI was up to 200.
All right, so you're with the Atmospheric Science Research, and we see this as bad as it is. Is there anything that can be learned from an event like this one in particular?
Well, it's obviously unprecedented. We've been making measurements up in Whiteface, actually, in the Adirondacks for more than 50 years. And the particulates we're measuring, be it organics or black carbon, is unprecedented. So it's important that we make those measurements and understand how important, how significant they are with respect to the historical record. One thing I think we need to watch out for is whether through climate change, for example, whether we're going to see more frequent events like this. So it's important that we carry on monitoring those things.
So is this event, now is it safe to say, is this the new high water mark for smoke events in the Northeast, would you say?
It's hard to imagine that we'll break that record anytime soon, but I think, as always with climate change, we're wondering about whether the frequency of these kind of events is going to increase. We're actually quite used to the smoke arriving at Albany from western coast fires, western coast fires. But usually when it gets to Albany, it's kind of high or diluted, and it might give you a nice sunset, but it hasn't reached the ground. Because we're so much closer to the source of the smoke here, that's why it's so much more impactful, together with the weather that's bringing it down. So it's
and that's really what it's all about, right?
Excuse me?
It's all about impacts. That's what it's all about, is impacts and what that's going to be doing to us. You know, we can't really predict where these fires end up developing, but we can predict the smoke and where it's going. Is there a way to really understand how impactful an event like this may be, and how much far ahead of time could we know that information?
I think, well, if you need first to know where the sources are and how frequent they are and how large they are, but once the smoke is elevated, it's important to monitor where the smoke is in altitude. And I'd like to mention something that we have here at UAlbany is the New York State Mesonet, and I'd like to mention some specific measurements that we're able to make with our profiler network. We have LiDARs that are able to show in real time the altitude of the smoke. And as I said before, the special thing about this case, unlike the smoke coming from the west, is that the smoke has reached down to the ground. And of course, that's where we live and that's where we're all impacted. So we have 17 of these LiDARs around the state measuring, basically detecting the smoke in real time.
What are you most interested to see play out in the next day or two or beyond?
Well, we're always going to have a problem while the fires are burning, but so it becomes a synoptic task, knowing where the winds are going to change. We've been in northerlies most of the last few days, but it's becoming more northeasterly, which is cleaning the air out over Albany, but obviously moving it somewhere else, out to the west, out towards Buffalo, for example. So it's all about the forecast, about where this low pressure system is moving exactly. So, but while the fires are burning, we still have to monitor those trajectories to see where the smoke is going.
And it could be a while that we're going to have to continue to monitor this situation for as many acres that are burning in Quebec right now. Chris Thorncroft, director of the University at Albany's Atmospheric Sciences Research Center. Really, we want to thank you so much for that information and joining us here for today. It's a tough thing. That Mesonet system that they have really provides more information, smaller detail than some other areas, because they're closer together.
And the profile in their LiDAR is showing just the extent, too, not just some smoke up there, but the extent of the smoke from essentially the bottom to the top.
Yeah, because up there it doesn't matter so much. It provides some haze and can cause issues, but if it's down here where we're breathing, that's what we're all experiencing right now. Bruin?
All right, well, a lot of safety.